Week 1 is so close. You can just about taste it, man. It's right around the corner. And with Week 1, the game of Week 1, depending on how you feel about LSU Clemson, right there in the discussion is Ohio State hosting Texas. Rematch of the semifinals of the college football playoff, and 2 new starting quarterbacks. Arch Manning, your guy for Texas. I'm assuming now, semi-confidently, that Julian Sayin will be your starting quarterback for Ohio State in this football game. I don't think we'll get that news announced until mid-August, but with that being the context of this discussion, who has more pressure on them in Week 1? Not the entire season, but in this game, who has the most pressure? We'll unpack it right now. If you're a Texas fan, if you're an Ohio State fan, make sure you're locked in here. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to give you our prediction for this game in the future during that game week. So if you don't want to miss that, want to hear our winner, our breakdown of the game, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel because this show, The Hard Count, college football year round. So I appreciate y'all being dialed in. So we'll start with Arch Manning. I think the pressure for him is tied to expectations because it's the last name. And that's an obvious part of this, but we have to address it. His last name is Manning, same as Peyton, same as Eli, same as Cooper, same as Archie. Like, we understand now. That last name holds a lot of weight. It's football royalty. Not just college football, but like football in general, royalty. The other part of that, in addition to like the pedigree and the thought process with the hype around him, there's the other part of this that he's had time to be ready. Like, if you're telling me I've got a guy who's been in the system for 2 years, waited his term behind another quarterback in Quinn Ewers, who, say what you want about what he was as an NFL prospect, like took Texas to the semifinals 2 years in a row, my expectation level is going to be a little bit higher that you hit the ground running. I think if you're having the conversation around the entire season, I would say there's more pressure on Arch Manning. Now, there's pressure on both guys for sure, but like for the season, we will absolutely have a discussion in the month of November and probably into December in the offseason of like, okay, well, what are we actually getting from Arch Manning? Or we're saying he lived up to the hype, which I think that in itself is borderline impossible with all the things being said about this guy. Even if he's really good, there's going to be discussion around, well, is he, relative to the rest of college football, relative to the expectations, relative to the Vegas odds preseason, having him as the number 1 draft pick next year, it's a tricky spot to be in. But in this game, man, I think all the pressure, or the majority of the pressure, lies on a one Julian Sayin. And the pressure for him, again, is specifically to this game. I think Ohio State is going to ask more of him to go win this football game. Like, a headline that would shock me is we sit here on Sunday morning and the headline reads, Buckeyes thrash Texas for 200 yards rushing. Julian Sayin pedestrian day as Ohio State cruises to win in the shoot. Like, wouldn't that kind of surprise you? Just based on this matchup alone. Look at how Texas is built with Colin Simmons off the edge, Anthony Hill. Like, that front seven, I think, has a case to be the best in college football. So if that's the situation we're walking into as Julian Sayin, what do we have to do? Probably throw it around a little bit. At the very least, we have to keep that front seven honest, right? Like, you probably ask more of Julian Sayin in this football game. Also, how is Ohio State built offensively? Yes, they want to run the football. I totally get that. But when you got Jeremiah Smith in the lineup, you better get him in the territory of like 10 catches a game. Like, in that territory. I don't know if he's actually getting 10 catches, but I think in a perfect world, you want him to touch the football as much as humanly possible. Unless you're drawing up a jet sweep or a trick play for the guy, how is that happening? Julian Sayin getting him the rock. And that's just one name that's the best player in college football, so it's a pretty good name, but we talk about a lot of other weapons they have. Max Clare, most receiving yards in the, I think, country last year from a tight end not named Tyler Warren. If it wasn't country, it was Big Ten. Don't quote me on that. Brandon Ennis, supposed to be his year to pop, right? He's waited his turn. Carnell Tate, same deal. High-profile guy out of high school, good year last year, stuck around Columbus. Like, there's a lot of mouths to feed here if you're Julian Sayin. And I think that's kind of how Ohio State's going to operate the entirety of this season. If you're telling me it's a good defense up front, again, the pressure shifts back to Julian Sayin to go have a larger hand in Ohio State winning this football game. And that's not to say anything less of what Texas will ask of Arch, but I think the reality is, you look at the opposite matchup for Ohio State up front, Texas replacing their offensive line, but they feel real good about that unit. Ohio State, I have to imagine there's also some internal confidence about their defensive line, but there's no Jack Sawyer over there. There's no Tuimoloau over there. Some high-profile guys. Edric Houston in the middle is going to be great for them, I think, long-term, but like, it is going to be a little bit of a feeling out period, I think, for that Ohio State defensive line in some sense. Like, you trust what a Trey Wisner can be if you're Texas. I think if C.J. Baxter is healthy, you trust him. Arch Manning and his legs. Like, I think if you're giving me the same stat line for both these quarterbacks. Let's say it's 17 for 24, 2 touchdowns, right around, call it 215 yards passing. If that's the stat line you're telling me before the game starts, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I think Texas won the football game. I think Texas has a better opportunity to win in a rock fight, to win ugly, to win running the football than Ohio State does. That's just my own personal feel on it. So with all that being said, that's not a pick to who's going to win the game right now, but how things are built. I think that Arch Manning, matchup-wise, is going to be asked less of, or could be asked less of, in this spot. And for Julian Sayin, I don't see a world where they just have him game manage all the way to a win at home against Texas. Last thing I'll say, too, in terms of pressure, Ohio State just won the national championship. This is a team that you just beat a year ago, and they have a new starting quarterback. Does Texas. Ohio State does too, obviously. But you hear what I'm saying. You just beat them a year ago, and they're coming to your place to open the season post-national title game. Yeah, there should be an extra amount of pressure baked in there. Now, I don't think either way, either of these guys is getting out pressure-free, both in this game or the entirety of the season. But if I had to pick one today, I'd say there's more pressure on Julian Sayin. So this one is one we're obviously all fired up about, both us on this show and the college football community. We'll have our official prediction and pick for you in this game, our official preview for you on this channel during the game week. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you are subscribed right here to this show, The Hard Count, on the On3 YouTube channel. Get at me in the comment section. Let me know. You got Julian Sayin or Arch Manning with more pressure heading into this Week 1 matchup in Columbus. Big noon kick, all that in a bag of chips, man. Cannot wait. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Caden Smith on the 1s and 2s. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.